In this video, I'm going to be ranking 15 different marketing strategies for auto styling shops, with D being the lowest and S being the highest. So let's hop right in. First things first, we have got organic content. Now, content is something that long-term is extremely beneficial for the business. It's free to make, free to post, but it does take a long time and you do actually have to be really good at it to see serious results with your content. The other thing is you can't become hyper-local. You can't target your specific audience when you're doing content, meaning you're going to get people from all around the country, maybe even all around the world, to see your content versus just people in your location. So content, extremely effective long-term when done right, but takes a lot of time to get off the ground and isn't as good when it comes to targeting specific people. Now, content is going to be getting in between a B and an A. I think I'm going to bump it up to an A though, just because if you do go viral, it can change your entire business. Number 2 is going to be your Google business profile. So everybody already knows what this is. If you don't have a Google business profile and you're running an auto styling shop, you need to stop everything else you're doing and go get a Google business profile ASAP. That is going to be one of the biggest long-term drivers of your business. Once you're the highest reviewed or the second highest reviewed in your town, you're going to have people just calling, seeing the reviews, seeing how good the work you do is, and just calling straight in. So Google business, very good. It's, however, not as controllable in terms of during winter, you're going to slow down a lot. You can't control what comes through it nearly as much as some of these other strategies. So this, again, is going to be in the A tier. Now, SEO, similar to your Google business, but it takes longer to rank. It's more finicky. You're less likely to actually get to the top of the page unless you really know what you're doing and you have several years to invest thousands of dollars every single month. So SEO is going to be going into the B tier for those reasons. Now, Nextdoor is a very good way to get your business off the ground, a very good way to get your first few jobs, get your feet wet with the industry, and even after you've already got the business off the ground, it's a great way to bring in a couple extra jobs every single month. This is very similar to organic content because it's basically just organic content that you're posting on Nextdoor. Slightly different though, just because of that platform. So it's good to get a couple extra jobs a month, but it's nothing serious. And for that reason, I'm going to be putting it into the C tier. Next up, we have got Facebook groups. Now, Facebook groups are kind of like Nextdoor, but you have a little more control. There's a lot more pockets for you to post in, and typically you're going to be able to get a slightly higher amount of jobs coming through. Now, Facebook groups, I'm going to be putting up in the B tier, just because if you are consistently posting, you can get a pretty good flow of jobs. You can network in there and get good jobs, but again, it's going to take you a little longer and it's not going to be quite as good for your business as content done well or as a Google business profile with a large amount of reviews. Next up, we've got referrals and word of mouth. Now, this is what 90% of auto styling shop owners that I talk to completely rely on. The only way that they get any business is from referrals and word of mouth, which works, obviously, because their business is supported on it. But there's a couple main limiting factors that are going to hold it back from the S tier spot. Number 1 is that similar to your Google business profile, similar to SEO, you don't have control over what comes through. You're relying on another person to bring you new customers, to put money on the plate. So for that reason, it's going to be going in the A tier. Next up, we've got knocking on doors, going door to door. This is extremely high effort. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of dedication, a lot of discipline to consistently go out and knock on doors. But with that said, it's extremely controllable and you can get a lot of jobs coming through by knocking on doors. So I would say knocking on doors is going to be better than SEO, better than groups, but it's not quite S tier. It's not quite what I would use to scale the business super long term. All right, after that, we've got auto shows or car meets. This is going to be a very good way just to build a brand, maybe more so than directly get jobs. It's great to have your face, your company at these events, building your brand, and ultimately just being someone in the community that's involved and that people see as an expert in your field. So for those reasons, it's very good. However, like I said, it's more going to be for branding than getting direct jobs, and it's also not extremely scalable just because there's a limited number of car meets you can go to, and even the ones that they do have, you need to make sure you're going to ones with a lot of people that actually have the money and can afford to get your services. So for that reason, car meets are going to be going in the B tier right next to Facebook groups and SEO. Next up, we have got yard signs. Yard signs are kind of hit or miss. Some areas will do extremely well with yard signs. Others, not so much. They won't get any calls. So a couple things with yard signs, you have to have a good offer. People aren't looking to really spend a ton of money when they're calling you off a yard sign. You have to have a well-designed sign, and also it does take a lot of time to go out and put out 100, 200, 400, 500 signs, which is what you need in terms of volume to actually get a significant amount of calls. So it's another one of those things where it's good if you're starting out your business, but long-term might not be super scalable. So for that reason, I'm going to be putting it next to Nextdoor, which is going to be in the C tier. Then we've got business cards. Business cards is not really a marketing strategy, but for some reason, a lot of shop owners I talk to seem to think that they are. So I've got it on this tier list. Now, just based on me saying that, you can probably guess where these are going to go. D tier, because every single time someone gets a business card, it is going straight in the garbage, or they're burying it in their wallet with 1,000 other cards and never looking at it again. All right, next up is going to be radios, which are kind of outdated at this point. Radio ads are something that can work depending on your city, depending on your demographic, who are you targeting. But to be honest, they're not nearly as effective as most of the stuff that we've gone over at this point. Even yard signs are probably going to get you a better flow than radio. Nextdoor, maybe, maybe not. Depends on how good your radio is, I guess where you're at, what the demographic is. So for that reason, I think they're right in between Nextdoor and yard signs. I'm going to be putting them in the C tier. Then we've got TikTok ads, which are pretty underrated right now. I don't think they're quite an S tier item, but I do think that people widely underestimate just how many people in that 40, 50, sometimes even 60-year-old age range are on TikTok scrolling. And the other thing is, with TikTok, you've got a very low CPM, which means you've got a low cost to show your ad to 1,000 people, meaning that you're going to have a lot of impressions, a lot of views for the money that you put in. And if you can dial your TikTok ads in, hit that right demographic where it's maybe 25 to 50-year-olds, which there are a ton of nowadays on TikTok, you're going to be doing really good. You're going to make a lot of money. So for that reason, and also one more thing, there's almost no competition on TikTok. If you're running TikTok ads for your business and you're an auto styling shop, you're probably one of the only people in your town running them. So for that reason, they're going in A tier. Like I said, not S tier yet, but a couple years down the line, as we do get even more developed of an older demographic on there, I could definitely see them stepping up into the S tier. Next, we have got LinkedIn. This could be posts, this could be ads. LinkedIn is going to be more for the business to business side, meaning getting dealership contracts, getting contracts maybe with other companies around you, referral partnerships, and things like that. Now, LinkedIn ads are extremely expensive to run because you're competing with some of the top corporations who just funnel money into LinkedIn, and you're also able to target really well, which kind of makes up in some ways for the expensive cost per view, which is kind of the opposite of TikTok. However, it's not quite to the point where for an auto styling shop, it's really going to be super profitable right now. Still better than business cards because it's a lot more predictable. Once you do find a winning ad, you can still probably scale it up. It's just not going to be quite as crazy of a return as some of the other things. So for that reason, I'm going to put that in the C tier. Now, finally, we're on to 2 items, and the first of those is going to be Google. Google is amazing. It takes sometimes 1, 2, maybe even 3 months to optimize to really get leads flowing through, but when you do, the lead quality is amazing. You're able to get a ton of leads for a relatively reasonable price, and those leads are going to be super high intent, ready to move forward as long as your ad is structured the right way and you have high intent keywords. Now, Google is something where you can consistently, once you found a winning ad, put $1 in and get 5, 10 back out, which for me makes it S tier because you can predictably put money in and get more back out. That means once you find a winning ad, let's say you're getting a 10x return on ad spend. If you want to make $100,000 a month, all you need to do is spend $10,000 a month on Google and you're going to be right there. Now, Facebook is similar to Google, but it doesn't take any time to optimize. You're going to get way more leads. However, the leads are going to be a little lower quality. It does, however, have that same factor with once you find the winning creative or the winning targeting settings, you're going to be making anywhere from $5 to $20 typically as you scale per dollar that you put in. Now, my auto styling shop right now is actually at a 42x return on ad spend, meaning we put $1 in, we get 42 back out. So Facebook is something that I love. I actually run a marketing agency for auto styling shops that focuses primarily on Facebook ads. So obviously this one is going to be going in the S tier just because I've seen what it does to so many businesses. Now, watch the video on screen, book a call with me one-on-one in the description below so that we can implement Facebook and Google done for you. Subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next